Welcome to Sovereign Mamas, the podcast sanctuary for visionary women who are building lives, businesses, and legacies in alignment with their feminine power. I'm your host, Julia Jerg, intuitive business coach, mama of two, and systems strategist for solo-led entrepreneurs. Here, we honor both your sacred role as a mama and your wild vision as a changemaker. Expect soul-aligned strategy, raw storytelling, behind the scenes, and powerful conversations that support you in scaling your business without sacrifice. If you're done choosing between success and sovereignty, you're home. Let's begin. All right, welcome back to the Sovereign Mamas podcast. I hope everyone is feeling inspired, curious, and open to what this and today's discussion or conversation is bringing. Welcome to the show, Amy. I'm really happy to see you and excited and curious what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Amy, if you would like to just maybe introduce yourself a little bit and say you speak about living in truth. So maybe include that in your introduction. What that does that actually mean for you? And as a woman or mother and leader, how does that look like for you?
Yeah, so firstly, my name's Amy Louise Cash. I always say when I jump on a podcast that firstly, I'm a human being having a human experience just like everyone else. And if I have to go by a label, I'm firstly a very devoted mother to a beautiful daughter. And I am a child of the earth. The earth is my biggest teacher and guide in this lifetime. And if I do have to go by a label, I am a women's coach and mentor, and I'm just deeply committed to being a voice for women and a stand for truth. And so my whole journey has been around reconnecting to my own truth, and it as I've gone along my journey and I've had these like very potent pivotal moments in my life, I've realized where I have been so deeply out of alignment and lying to myself and to everyone else in my life in so many ways. And a lot of this has come from the generations that I have been birthed into and it being a pattern that's come through the lineages. And, I know it's not just my family, it's pretty much the majority of all of us on this earth. We're all living a lie in some way in our life. And so truth for me is like the ultimate freedom. And so my commitment and the way I walk my walk on this earth is to just be so deeply devoted to truth and to inspire that in other people.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think made you look into this or wake up to this, or what was an experience that caused this urge to make this your mission?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this last night. I was like, sitting with this interview and I was like, oh, what do I want to share tomorrow? So I'm 40 years old now, but when I was 16, I had an experience where I was raped by two men. And this for me was like actually the most beautiful medicine in my life. Like the way I see it now is I would not be the woman I am today. I wouldn't have been like helping women and supporting women for the last 10 years if it wasn't for that actual event occurring in my life. So that
Mm.
happened at 16. Then for the next 15 years, 16 years after that, I did not speak about it. I was like, it affected me in a really big way. And I was not the person I am right now. I was insecure. I cared what people thought. I was a really big people pleaser. I literally lived to fit in and please others. And
Mhm.
so at 30, I think I was 30. Yeah, I think I was actually 30. It was around my 30th birthday. I went to a workshop and I thought I was going to the workshop and it was going to help my business, which was not the business I have now. It was a different business at the time. And I was like, oh, this workshop, it just keeps popping up in my face. Must mean I need to go to it. And I took myself there thinking it was going to like build my business that I used to have. And I got there and it was like the biggest slap in the face for me. It was a personal growth workshop, and I'd never done that in my life. And so little did I know that weekend for me was going to like be a moment that like completely pivoted my journey. And it like the way I look at it, it was my moment of spiritual awakening, and it really woke me up to like how I was being and what was running my life to actually what is possible for me. And so that weekend, I stood in front of about 70 people and I shared what I was hiding and most afraid to share, which was that experience at 16. And I literally felt like the way I describe it is I felt like this demon came out of my body as I spoke, like this dark energy came out of me and moved through me and set my body free. And so before that, I had like in that time frame of when that trauma happened to me and when I spoke about this, I would end up in hospital every 6 months. I had problems with my kidneys and I had like all these different health things happening. But after I spoke about this and I like set my body free in this way, I never went back to hospital again. My health problems started to dissipate and I just kept talking about it then because I was like, wow, I spoke about this thing that I was so like shameful about, and it set me free in my body. So I want to be free in my body. And so
Mm.
that was like a really pivotal moment for me because it started me on this journey of like, wow, where am I hiding? Like, where am I like really like living in deep shame? And where am I like not being in my actual truth? Where am I saying yes to people when I'm actually a no? Where am I committing to an event to go to? But really, I just want to stay home and rest my body. Like it started me on this journey of like truth, my truth. Like, how can I be so deeply honored and committed to my own truth? So,
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of was the first pivotal moment for me.
Wow, so powerful and so, I mean, first of all, uh, impressive how you can speak about it today and have really this um, neutral frequency around it when you say that this event, even embrace it and be grateful and thankful for that and seeing it as a lesson. And this happened for me, even such a trauma and trauma infused and traumatic experience, right? So this is really, yeah, it shows the transformation that you've gone through over the years, and also so powerful to see how the lowest frequency, guilt and shame, when we keep ourselves in that, how it impacts us, how our body is affected, how we are actually then keeping ourselves stuck. And then when you release it and come out, the change, like it's so rewarding. But the awareness needs to happen first. And then one thing, oh my goodness, I find this so funny. Like you literally just shared something that I could have said with the personal development program, which happened to me like exactly the same. I saw a workshop, thought it was for business, signed up after being, popped up all the time. And then it was like this full-blown deep dive and sharing things in front of it was actually a Zoom thing with 150 or more people.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, and it's exactly the same. Like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it so vividly. I just remember like wanting to crawl into a hole when I got there because everyone was hugging and I was like, "Oh my God." I was thinking in my head, "Get away from me." Like, you
Mhm.
can't be too close to like I was just it was freaked me out, but it cracked me open too.
Wow. So good, so good. Um, and then motherhood happened. That was so you had this moment, and then how many years of you finding yourself until then your girl came into your life?
Yeah, so I mean it was such a I mean that's been such a pivotal moment for me in my life, but there was a couple that was stacked on top of each other in there. So in 2020, I used to live in the States and I married a man that I fell in love with over there. we got married. We moved back to Australia at the beginning of 2020. And then in that year, 2020, that we married in January, we separated by the October. It was a very, like, I would say, the hardest time of my life, like the most
Mm.
painful time of my life. Going through that experience was extremely toxic. And um, yeah, I just felt like I tried everything in that marriage to help us move forward, but there was drugs involved from the other side. So it just was, I couldn't, it was either me or drugs kind of thing. So that happened. And then I separated from my ex-husband. And then I was in my like very early stages of healing of that relationship. And then I met my daughter's father. We were having a bit of fun. And then I like found out I was carrying life in my womb. So it was like this time in my life where I was like, oh my goodness, I'm having this child. But it happened at a time where I hadn't even had space to grieve my marriage ending. And there was like a lot of like stuff there for me to be with. So it was a really interesting time for me because there was this like beautiful blessing of this child growing in my womb. And it was pregnancy for me was just magical. Like I really loved it and I embraced every moment. And I was like dealing with like being with like the trauma and the grief of my marriage ending. And I was in a relationship that I knew that it wasn't my person. So I was like in this real sticky time in my life. But moving through that, then I birthed my daughter. And yeah, that honestly, that's been the thing that's like been the most beautiful, challenging, and awakening like thing for me in my journey and my growth and evolution in my life. So it's been beautiful.
Oh, and they never come in the perfect moments. I feel like the children, I don't know. I mean, there are a few families, obviously, the picture perfect couples that choose that. But then, like, I hear so many stories, and including myself, like, my children came at a moment when I thought, oh my gosh, children? Really? Is this what we're doing now? Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and it is part of that, right? I think it's part of when our soul is ready to do the next step and we feel already stretched and you're in the middle of dealing with things and you're like, no,
yeah,
how can this be right now?
yeah.
But yeah, again, like just surrendering.
Surrendering fully. I remember like when I lived in LA, I used to go to this like spiritual church over there. And I
Mhm.
remember the man that was running the Michael Beckwith. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was like the I don't know what they call them, like the pastor or like the man that stands and he speaks and he channels. And he's amazing. I love him so much. And I remember sitting there one morning and he was talking and he just was like, I was just sitting there bawling my eyes out because what he spoke touched me so much. And it's something I've carried with me through my life ever since that moment. And he said something like, you know, life is happening and we, like our human, gets in the way of like how our life is meant to unfold. And he said, all we need to do is like step our human out of the way, like our mind, our like controller, step that out of the way and let the divine plan unfold in its natural order. And so the way I see my life a lot, and I like that is like something that sits in my head all the time. I'm always like checking myself on where I'm stepping back in the way. And with my like marriage ending, now when I look back at that, at the time I wanted it so much. I was like, this can't end. Like I love him and I want this to keep going. And I tried so much. I did everything I could in my power to like make the marriage work, and it just didn't. And now when I look at it, I'm like, wow, that was the biggest blessing in my life
Mhm.
because it actually wasn't right for me. And we weren't like on the same frequency, and we didn't have the same values, and there was so many things that weren't aligned. But the love for me was so big that I wanted to just make it work, even though those things weren't. So when I look at it now, I'm like, oh, that was such a blessing for me, and that was the natural order happening. And then falling pregnant was the same thing. It's like it's unfolding in its natural order. And in
Mhm.
fact, when I met my daughter's father, I didn't feel attracted to him. Like I looked at him and I was like, I just wasn't physically attracted to him. But when I met him, there was this line of golden energy between me and his head. It was this line of it gives me goosebumps talking about it. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. What is that? Like, that's so interesting. And something in me was like, follow that. Like, what is that? And so every time he would contact me and be like, would you like to go for dinner, or would you like to go to this event? Or I'd always pull back to myself and I would check in and be like, am I going because I feel like I need company? Or am I going because I'm meant to go like with him to this thing? And I'd always just give myself like a bit of time to check if it was because I felt lonely or because it was this line. And I just followed that line of energy. And I wholeheartedly, like now in reflection, believe it was my daughter. She had chosen both of us and she was making that happen.
Mhm.
Because the moment I conceived her, and I didn't even know at the time that I had conceived her, I just, started feeling different for me. It's like my whole body rejected him. And it sounds awful, but it's the only way I can. I mean, I tell you, I'm committed to truth, so I will always like speak my truth. Um, but the moment my body conceived, I didn't like find that out properly for 2 weeks after. But when I found out I was pregnant, I tracked back how all these weird things were happening and how my feelings started shifting. And it was
Mhm.
2 weeks before. So when I conceived her, it's like she was like, "Yep, your contract's complete with him now."
You can go.
Yeah, and him and I have a beautiful relationship. Like we're not together, but we co-parent beautifully, and we have a friendship, and we're raising a beautiful little queen.
Oh, that's so beautiful, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. And have you heard of the concept of that people? It's never about the people, like especially when it comes to romantic relationships or love. It's like people are activators, right? They're activating something for you in your life, and you need specific people to trigger or activate something in
I
you
love that.
to learn and expand, right?
Yeah.
And that has been for me such a game changer when I look at my life, or also when I meet people, to always look what's there for me, like what's he activating in me, what's the lesson. Like this opens up so much of the curiosity and detaches you from that pressure maybe, or from that longing that the other person, well, first of all, there's some, like, in some people always this, oh no, this person fixes me or is there because we really need to be together. No, it's never the person, right? It's never the person. And even the love of your life, like, you truly think that, but then you could have the same experience with another person. It's just like needs to have that same matching frequency. And yes, I also like believe in soul contracts, and there's these special people on this planet, and they come in, and then you have that, and soulmates and all this. But it just like makes you lean back so much more and thinking, if it then doesn't work out, I can let this person go,
Yeah.
right? And there was a lesson, and if you can take yourself out, like you said so accurately, like just
who's guiding, who's leading? Is it the wounded teenager? Is it the inner child? Is it which part of me is now having this heartache, and why?
Mhm.
From there, make your decisions.
Yeah. And out like as you were speaking, I was thinking how my daughter was that for me too.
Oh
So
yeah.
so when I the marriage ended, the way I had a moment actually. I sit in plant medicine ceremonies and I'd just come out of a ceremony and I was looking at the sun and I had this beautiful moment where I had like this epiphany.
Mhm.
And what came from all of that was that I felt like that year of like pain and darkness was my initiation into womanhood. Like I
Mm,
feel like that whole experience actually initiated me. It took me from being a wounded girl
mm,
into like actually embodying my woman and
mhm,
learning how to hold pain and disappointment and like really build my personal power. And
mhm,
then my daughter, when I was carrying her in my womb, I remember like just feeling my truth. Like I already was like a stand for truth. But when I was carrying her in my womb, it became like 300% stronger.
mhm,
And there was some times where, my partner at the time, who was her father, he would say something or like ask something in the relationship, and my whole body was just a no. And part of it might have been a little bit me, but it wasn't me, it was her. Like I could always feel when it was her telling me, like,
mhm.
no, like say no. Like it's like real like this really strong stand. And I was like, so it's like that activation from, whether it's a lover or a friend or a child even, they come into your life and they activate something in you
Mhm.
and they bring medicine and there's
Yeah.
always healing there. It might not look the way we want it to look, but it in time we see the medicine, we see the healing that comes from it.
Oh yeah, most of the times in the moment when you're in them, it feels uncomfortable, or doesn't feel right even, right?
Yeah.
And and then only afterwards you can write the story about it. Then the book makes sense, right? Oh yeah, this was just my next chapter. Cool.
Yeah. So true.
My gosh. And so today you are guiding women and really help them find their truth. Is this would you like to maybe explain a little bit about the modalities that you're using and the program that you're running? I know something is starting in January. Maybe share a little bit how women can work with you.
Yeah, so like I said, like the basis of my work is to support women and mothers and really whoever comes to me because I actually have some men come into my space too.
Mhm.
So I really just help whoever comes to me and feels like I'm the person to support them on their journey. But I support them in like walking their walk devoted to their truth because when we are so devoted to our truth, we pave the way for the next generation, but not also the next generation, all of the people that are in our life now. So when we are so deeply devoted to our truth, it will inspire and touch our parents. It will inspire and touch our children. It will inspire and touch our friends, our family, even strangers that we just have like a 5-minute connection with in the street. So I just wholeheartedly believe when we can be such a stand and a deep commitment to ourselves, we become the example for so many other people and it changes our life in business. Because
Mhm.
if we need to be in our truth in our business, if we're trying to force ourselves to do something that's somebody else's way, but it's actually not in alignment with us and not our way, it doesn't move our business forward. So it really comes back to like being devoted to our own truth and moving from that place in love, in relationships, in business, in life. So it's really the basis to me of it all. So the way I work with women is uh, it depends on who the person is that comes into my space and what they need, because everyone needs something different. But I am trained in like many different modalities, from trauma healing, somatic therapy, um, IFS, which is internal family systems, um, mindset work, leadership and embodiment work, breath work, like all the different modalities there. I also have sat with different native tribes all over the world over the last 10 years. And so nature and like walking a path deeply devoted to the earth, and having the earth, the sun, the moon, like everything that is part of our universe is my teacher. It's what I go to, animals, all the things. So the way I work with women, it differs between different women. It depends who comes to me, and like what I feel is the energy that I need to bring to that call for that person to get what they came for, whatever
Mhm.
that be for the person. So whether it's business, whether it's relationship, whether it's life, whether it's mindset, whether it's trauma, I help people in many, many different ways. It's hard to put it all into like one sentence, which I'm sure you understand.
Yeah, it's I think it's the most fulfilling and most beautiful way um of doing business. I don't know, like it's going after your that those are your gifts, right? And you can't label them. You can't really say I'm only doing this. Like I'm the same. Like I have so many facets and variations, and then it depends on the person and I also, I mean, obviously, there's the marketing side of things so that your people can find you and understand before they meet you. But then at the same time, I truly believe in when you speak your truth and you're showing up authentically, you attract your people. And then that's the strategy. That's
Totally.
to your life. And then
Yeah.
deliver your services and really helping them being, again, the authentic person, then that's your way of working. So I love that you are combining all the things, and we have so many overlaps also
Yeah.
with with the breath work and the ways of connecting with the spiritual side of things and your intuition. So I really love that, and that's why we connected, right? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
It's been now a while, but I think I saw, no, I do remember. I saw a post
Yes.
social media and something you said.
Yeah. I remember I had a look last night at what this
Oh
was.
yeah.
And it's
You,
about, I think it was a post I wrote about like staying for the children,
yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
relationship for the children, and how
Yeah.
like I don't believe in that.
Yes. And that's something where we're connecting as well, because obviously also I'm raising my children. I'm doing it without their dad. You're in this
Wow.
good luxurious position to having the dad around, which is
Wow.
and so healing for the children, I think. But yeah, I also was like maybe seeing my parents staying together, and I used to hear my mom always say, well, I can't leave because of you, basically. And having that, knowledge that a relationship and what it can cause, and seeing my mom go through all the, physical illnesses and how her body manifests that not being and feeling
Yep.
it. And then I'm looking at it from the outside and understanding that you can't do this, like that life
So,
is a gift. You have to listen to yourself and then take action. And I said, no, I'm not going to do this. I need to break this generational, like I felt something has to change with me, and it starts with me, really. Yeah, and I saw that in your post and how you also didn't want to settle just because, like, for the children, and how what a beautiful gift we're giving actually our children to show this. Yeah.
yeah, similar to you, like my mum, she's my best friend. And my mum, actually, my mum and dad are both my best friends right now, but
Hmm.
they were together for 19 years and then separated, but it was like not good for decades, pretty much. And I know that my mum stayed for similar reasons.
Mhm.
And when I got married and that marriage like wasn't going so well, I remember the reason I got to the end point was because my body, like
Mhm.
something started happening in my body and I hadn't even gone to the doctor or anything. I just could feel something and I'm so connected to my body that I could feel something and I was like, whoa, like
Mhm.
something's manifesting in my body right now because I'd just lost 13 kilos from stress and then something was happening and I was like, okay, this is my time, like no more. And so I chose myself in that moment and was like, all right, my body's telling me, so I'm going to listen to my body. And I listened. And I remember afterwards, my mum said, I can't believe you stayed with him for that long.
Oh.
Now I was like, excuse me? I said, I think I moved pretty fast. I said, you in your marriage for 19 years? And she was like, oh yeah, that's very true. You did well. And then again, like when I was in the relationship with my daughter's father, I knew in my whole body that it wasn't
Yeah.
for me.
Mm.
And I just was never going to lie to myself in that way or him or my daughter. Like,
Mhm.
it's not just about me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to stay in a relationship with someone that I know I'm not invested in because
Mhm.
I want him to have love in his life. I want him to experience that. And I also want my daughter to see
Mhm.
like healthy relating,
Yeah.
a lie,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like brings it back to like what we talked about at the very beginning of like a lot of us, like even now, I have to check myself every day. And there's still some moments where I notice I'm like lying to myself, where I might say yes to a plan or overcommit myself to something when my body's actually a no, but I'm doing it to please or, you
Mm.
know. So it's probably smaller ways that I do it now, but we all do it. So we all
Yeah.
have to check ourselves on that because when we lie to ourselves, we do create disease in our body.
Mhm.
It compounds.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're so conditioned, and it's almost like on no, it's almost like it when you come to that point where you understand that, and I'm sure you've done that, then there needs to happen like a
Yeah.
reprogramming in your brain. Otherwise, it's like it's so in us, this habit of sure, 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 going this way, and then um, yeah, finding yourself in a situation where then either your body makes you stop or an event in your life happens where it wakes you up. And isn't it also interesting how, our generation, I feel, goes through, or maybe I'm attracting more and more women who have experienced it in a very similar way that I have gone through my spiritual awakening with, like we really have to be rock bottom.
Hmm.
And something really like needs to shake our world. And then we wake up and then we look into it and then we're doing the thing. But up until those moments, and sometimes it's not even just one moment, like you said, many pivotal moments, right? But wouldn't it be so amazing if our children now had already like this this wisdom, and this is what I'm doing. Like I'm sharing so much with my children, not from an adult, like obviously all tuned down to PG age, um, but really letting them understand there is magic. There's like, you are the creator of your life. This is like you're here. Life doesn't happen to you; it's for you. And all these things that I'm now truly living by and have understood in my 30s. I want them to know now. And then on the other hand, sometimes I'm wondering, oh, is this just part of the human experience? They have to go through it anyways, and it's
Yeah.
the 20s serve their purpose. The 30s are more like, okay, now we've done that chapter of the 20s of exploring, going out and being wild, and then coming to our, like, because I've seen patterns. It's always the 20s do this, the 30s here, and then the 40s were like, oh, now level of wisdom, and, now we're in this sovereign area. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And like, I love this conversation because I think it's something that we could sit and contemplate all day long. Um, and I believe and feel that it's a little bit of both. I feel like we all are got on our own journeys and we're here to learn and grow and evolve. And things are going to happen and it's going to happen on our own timing. But I also feel like as mothers and parents, we do have such a gift of having an impact on our children. Like we are an impact on them. And like I look at my 3.5-year-old daughter and like I have such a deep connection to nature and animals. And I watch her and that's just how I be. Like in my daily life, if I'm walking along and I see a bee, I grab a flower if the bee can't fly and I sit with the flower with the bee and I hold it there and it sucks the pollen from the flower and I wait until it flies off.
Mhm.
And like my daughter's watched me do this since she was born and she's felt it before too. Like, it's just who I am. And so I watch my daughter literally
Mm.
loving animal. Like she deeply loves animals and she like picks these animals up and she saves them and she if they've died we take them home and we put them in a plant and we give them like a little ceremony and we bury them and bless their life. And my daughter will walk around the streets and she'll be like, oh look, the bee's died, oh let's bless his life, thank you bee for all your hard work on this earth. Like she literally does this and that's because I be that in my life. I'm like it's like so deeply like I love them so much and she feels that and she watches and she sees. And
Mm.
so I think like it's a bit of both. It's like we are waking up and we have a level of consciousness as
Mhm.
mothers and lots of parents out there have this. And just by us speaking how we speak and you saying like, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Our children grow up remembering that it's ingrained in them, and how, it gives me goosebumps because how beautiful. Because there's going to be moments in their life where that comes to their head, like, oh, my mum says this.
Yeah.
It's like gives me goosebumps because it's like, that's medicine. And
Mm.
yes, then we can guide them and we can share our wisdom. And then they get to still have their journey and
Yeah.
take and leave what they leave. And maybe when they're 40, it lands for them, whatever we said.
Hmm.
I think it's beautiful that we have more parents out there like on these journeys like you and I, like waking up conscious, doing our part, like being committed to our truth because we're teaching our children in such a beautiful way. And so then maybe in 3 or 4 generations to come, it's really different
Yeah.
how they be
Yeah.
because we're like what we are. I feel like our generation is the generation that's like breaking the cycles. So
Hmm.
we are like holding the load, I feel like our generation are the ones that are like holding the load and breaking this cycle of like
Hmm.
how it's been for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And so it's heavy for us. But
Hmm.
imagine in like 4 generations, like some kids will be breaking the cycle then, but
Yeah.
for a lot of our children, they won't be. They'll be like living this new way.
Mhm.
How beautiful. Well, that's what I see in my head anyway.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I see it too, and I feel the shift. Yeah, when I look at all like, when I think back in times, generations, and yes, I can see our generation being really this groundbreak, I don't know, a pillar, or I don't, but we do something
We're
meaningful.
like the axe. And we're the ones that are like getting judged and like we're holding a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of judgment,
Hmm.
but like we were meant to be the ones to do that, and we have it in us to hold that
Yes,
and
yes, yeah.
keep moving.
Mm. Amazing. I love these conversations. So good, so good. I'm just looking at my time. We're absolutely going all all in. But any last, I mean, do you have anything else that you would like to add that you haven't said that makes you feel complete for today?
I think like we've talked a lot about truth and we've gone off on little, but it
Mhm.
all entails the same thing. And I think it's just a really beautiful moment for anyone who's listening to this to sit with yourself today and just contemplate where you may be abandoning yourself or you know doing to please others versus being in your own truth. And it could be as small as knowing that you made a commitment, but it doesn't feel good for you that you made that commitment, and you get to renegotiate that commitment and come back to you and what does your body tell you? Because ultimately, our body is our guide, and our
Mhm.
body will never lie to us. It's always guiding us. And if we actually tune in and every day listen to our body and build that connection, we will get better and stronger in being committed to our own truth.
Yes,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you, Amy, so much for your time, for being here, for shining in our on our show, and for everyone who's listened. I hope you see Amy's story and her lessons and her gifts and her truth as something that helps you now go away and be inspired and see, like, really, like these conversations here on the Sovereign Mamas podcast is really for me, um, with this desire and wish that whatever you need today, whatever your soul has to listen to or needs most, um, that you can see this and take it for you and then do something with it. And if there is something that sparked or that shook you or woke you up or resonated the most with you, then please let us know. Send us a message, share it with the community, come into the Facebook group, and or leave a comment below the podcast. And definitely please reach out to Amy if you want to explore more of her work and get in touch with her and let her know that you listen to the podcasts. That'd be my wish. Okay, thanks so much for listening. Thanks again, Amy. It was
Thank you so much.